Alright, trying to set this up while I'm waiting for my dinner and not crash my phone because... Right, okay, I'm just gonna have to hold this. It's really awkward. Actually, I'm gonna grab my helmet and yeah, I think that works better. Okay, there we are. Alright, and Men's Circle that's held in Bali. Obviously, you know, the biggest things that I've learned with the whole personal development journey and going on is that by having conversations with people, that's when you get a lot of awareness. You get a lot of like, I feel like I need to stop hiding behind, I don't know what it is, like, you know, as some of you may know that I have this Own Your Story idea back in July when I went through my own journey and when I had the Conscious Leadership panel back in Dojo, and somehow when I got back to Sydney, that vision of mine somehow got mixed away with all the, you know, reason that I gave myself. But today, one of the biggest lessons that I have personally learned that is men and women are actually not that different, because the topic that we had today was around needs and desire. Specifically the needs and desire in our life things, and really not be met, and also men and women are not that different. And the main and it was interesting because as we went relationships that I've had in the past 3 to 6 months, as I really embark on this like deep inner work journey, is that the relationships that I have with people, or the people that I've attracted in my life, or the connections that I have made during this time has been a lot more deeper and meaningful, and a lot of them are people that that I was just being who I am, the weird, crazy, hippie person that I am, along with just sharing my stories and just not being afraid to talk about business, spirituality, sexuality. And that seems to be a common theme. And also a really big theme that came out from that conversation was around vulnerability. And a lot of us hide our feelings, a lot of us don't talk about our problems, a lot of us don't ask for what we want, a lot of us don't share because we don't feel safe to share. And I still work through things like that. And yeah, so this is like, it's just quite mind-blowing to see that we are not that different. It doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter what background you're from, like who you are, we all kind of face with the same challenge. And one of the recognition that I have as well is I'm so proud of myself for I've come such a long way to have healed, like the deep healing that I've done back in June and July, like now looking back, or even when I was in Sydney having that break, like that moment that I don't know what the fuck that I'm doing. I feel like it has all led up to this point where I can like happily set, you know, obviously we all have work to learn, but I think that I'm really happy with the progress that I am, and I'm trying to see, I really want to like help more people get more in touch with who they really are and learn how to share things. And obviously for everyone that I meet that wants to get on a path, I always recommend them to read Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. But also I'm trying to see what are the ways that I'm able to facilitate conversations apart from my podcast, apart from the conversations that I have with the people that I already have in my life, because those are the people in safe space. How can I create your story, your struggles? And you know, I'm really like grateful for those of you who actually reach out to me on my Instagram messages and tell me your stories, and say how sharing my stories has helped them. But then I want to take this a bit further, because you know, I really think that there is so much work to do around expanding the consciousness collectively for us to be more aware of who we are. And I mean, we don't even have to go down the spiritual path, but just being able to say that I'm not okay today, to say that, you know, I'm feeling sad today, to ask for help. So that's a big thing that I need to work on, to ask for help and actually be opening to receiving the help. But it's just mind-blowing, and I feel like I've gotten the sparks back of what I'm meant to do. Like it's, yeah. So anyways, this is just a live video as I'm waiting for my food, trying not to get eaten by mozzies, but just really opening up the conversations around, I mean, business is one of them, but what about something that I don't really talk about? Asian background, there are a lot of shame around sexuality, and also the fact that I think women are being brought up or being taught that sex is just for reproduction, it's for a purpose, and not so much as a means of connecting to ourselves, as a means of pleasure, as a means of being dropped fully into our feminine. And I didn't really want to talk about it because it's a taboo subject, and also I guess, I don't know if my mum has really taught me a lot about myself, not in terms of my preference and stuff, like hater business wise, my creativity, like whether I ask for what I want, trust, boundaries, all that different things, and kind of stir more conversations around. To have met incredible people here in Bali that allows intellectual conversations, to bounce stories where to get insights from other people, and they have been so long. How can I start generating more conversations to get you guys to speak up? It doesn't have to be to me, but to a loved one, to the people around you, to someone that you just want to tell them, I love them. And for me personally is to really today, when I go through moments, I feel like I have to, I just suddenly thought of, okay, maybe I'll just tell my parents how I feel about them, how much I appreciate them, how much I'm grateful for them, and they just return with like a really formal message. And for me, it's like, well, how do I continue expressing myself? And I had a conversation with a friend today about that, and she was like, it's really important to know what their love language is, and to think about how I was 6 months, 12 months ago, because I didn't know how to express love. I didn't know how to receive love when someone was being very verbal to me. Because my love language is act of service and physical touch, so it could be the same for me. And I want to start having conversations like that, because I mean, with a lot of us, we don't hate our parents. Like, we love our parents, we love, we're not complaining about the life influence because of the parental influence, society influence. We're so conditioned that in the process of getting to know ourselves better, getting to get back to who we are, how do we kind of, how do we set the boundaries with people that we love? How do we express our love? And she made a really good point. Hi, Nettie, if you're ever watching. One of the really good points that she made was, if I am, if we as children, or if we are such a chameleon where we know we can see things from different perspectives and we can kind of morph and change according to situations, how can we do that for our parents? Because one of the things that she said that kind of really resonated with me was they probably need more love from me than the love they give me, because I've been on this healing journey. I've healed a lot of things in the past, whereas for them, like it's probably it's very unlikely that how can I express my love in a way that they understand. So that is going to be a new mission, for me, in terms of family relationship wise. And I actually don't know how that conversation completely skewed to this one, but I'm just kind of letting whatever that comes through, because when I was sound healing journey, March this year in Canggu, actually. I was in Canggu in March, but I went to Ubud for that sound healing session, and I had a massive release, and I just started crying. I have the video somewhere on Instagram stories. I will probably link it somewhere here. That say that the things that comes up is relationship with others and relationship with myself, even though I was dead set focusing on my business. And truth to be told, should I choose to focus on myself? Because again, think of you can dedicate your energy to different things, and it's up to you. And at that time, my heart really says to really get connected with who I am, to get connected with my relation. But at the end of the day, that's going to be a separate video, because I was actually doing some sort of like not analysis, but more of reflection around like our needs, like what is the most important for us. And for me, and I think for I would not have the capacity or ability or even the energy or even the to want to do self-development when I was hating my job, when I was stuck in a 9 to 5 that wasn't fulfilled, like that wasn't. This conversation with my sister the other day, because she is one of those who uses a takeaway cup in a cafe, and I was like, you know what, I'm not judging you, I'm just letting you know that as you get to know yourself better, you care more about the environment, because I used to be one of those people who have a takeaway cup in the cafe because it keeps the coffee warm. And I'm not saying that from a judgmental point of view, because like I said, your life, your energy, your daily capacities, it's like a box. So if you spend most of your energy, most of your feelings, most of your just you getting at the work that you were doing, let alone giving to our environment, the earth. So this is why like freedom is one of my highest values, because once you find fulfillment in the work you do, because you spend so much time working, or you spend so much time doing work, right? So to flip it aside, I mean, people say that, you know, work it is what it is, but I feel like starting a business or having a job or a work that really fulfills you is a vehicle for you to live a purposeful life, because that fulfill the basic of like your basic, and how you're going to find space to do things that you really like. Yep.
And
yeah, thank you. I'm going to show you guys my thank you my food a little bit. But yeah, so that's just really something to think about. And you know, when I think back around working on things that fulfill me, and I'm not saying that you have to quit your job tomorrow to save the world. I didn't start off like that, but for me, freedom, like one of the biggest things for me is I don't like taking orders from people that just orders me because they're at a hierarchy higher than me. I'm like, if you have a reason, I'm a very reasonable person, but don't tell me what to do just because, which turns to my mentor. I have all this extra capacity to see what are the other areas of life that I want to look out for, what are the areas that I want to give. Because if you don't have space, like you know, like as cliche as it sounds, you can't give when your cup is empty. And if you're hating your life, if you have more bad days than good days, you really have to do something about it. I could go on and on about this, but my food is here. I'm fucking stuck. If you're watching this replay, I'd like to know, like, what is stopping you from showing up as your true, like, or like what exactly is keeping you stuck at where you're at the moment and what you want to get to, and how can I support or show up? Like, what kind of content is it? Just me sharing my day-to-day, like, you know, real life stories, but sometimes it might be like a group, like a session that we can share and ask questions. I like to know, because I feel like now being in Bali, as always, I have like, my heart is so full. I'm like grateful for the people that I have, and I just want to bring this as a mean through online, if I can, to channel the energy, to channel the vibe, to just really expand the consciousness and make the world a better place. And yeah, that's just what it is. Let me know, and have a good week. Happy Wednesday. Let's take a moment and appreciate how fucking high vibe this is. But talk to you guys soon.